Mayor, you just referred to food and free school meals and the vouchers, but mine's a sort of wider preparedness question, which is about London's supermarkets and food supply chains, and whether or not you think they're ready for a late deal, or even worse, a no-deal Brexit. Obviously, we've been talking a lot about the pandemic this morning, but we can't forget that, the 31st of December, we are heading towards the departure from the European Union, and I'd like to find out where we are in terms of food supply for all Londoners.
Yeah, a really important question. So part of the work I asked the SEG to do was not just dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic and the response, but also a potential no-deal Brexit or a flimsy deal Brexit. And so part of that preparedness is on this issue. The bad news is actually the worst time for a transition deal to end is in the middle of winter, because we've got no seasonal crop being grown here. We are relying for a lot of our fresh produce, fruit and veg from overseas. You'll have seen media reports about Kent becoming a car park. I'm paraphrasing, but you get the point. So we are doing lots of work in relation to resilience, supply chains, and all the rest of it. It's not going to be the same. It won't be seamless. We're keen to avoid a situation where there are empty shelves across our city, particularly in poorest parts of our city. Some parts of our city, York Road, don't have in close distance fresh fruit and produce as it is at affordable prices. So we're working with key partners across London to make sure we can ameliorate the consequences of either a no-deal Brexit or a flimsy deal Brexit.
Deputy Mayor Debbie Wicks-Bernard has been to the Economy Committee a couple of times to update us on some of that work, but I just wondered if you could assure us about the situation with food banks, which became very serious over Easter, and we ended up with a situation where some of the food banks were on the verge of collapse with no food for the most vulnerable. How resilient do you feel that they are coming into this winter period with Brexit and the pandemic and, of course, the increase in poverty?
Yeah, so we have to remind ourselves, I mean, you know this because you volunteer and contribute towards local food banks to us, but actually food banks rely to a large extent on surplus shopping from families. Many of us will buy a bit extra and give to a food bank. And for obvious reasons, that dried up because families were keen to get stuff for themselves and there were concerns around shortages there. We saw, unfortunately, hoarding in March. That thankfully doesn't appear to be happening now in the second lockdown, and it shouldn't happen before 31st of December, we're hoping. We've also made representations, I did personally, to the supermarkets to make it easier for people to donate stuff to baskets in supermarkets and for them to donate anything that they can do so as well. Food banks, have an issue in relation to the supplies they've got. And can I use this Mayor's Question Time to encourage all Londoners to donate generously to the local food banks? They do a huge amount of work helping families. And in particular, Leonie, you'll know that there are families who've got no recourse to public funds, and food banks are a lifeline. And one of the things about the Christmas story, and the parables of Jesus Christ are about helping those least vulnerable, helping those most vulnerable, and we should make sure this Christmas period we give what we can to food banks.
I think that's a great message, Mr. Mayor. Thank you very much.